Now we will see the OSI reference model and the TCP/IP reference models. Then the comparison of OSI and TCP/IP reference models. Then the critique of the OSI models and the protocols, and the critique of the TCP/IP model. So first we will see the principles of OSI reference models. The OSI reference model consists of basically the 7 layers. The layers created for different abstractions. Each layer performs a weight-depiled function. The function of layer chosen with the definition of international standard protocols, keeping in mind it minimizes the information flow across the interface between the boundaries. The number of layers are the optimum. So this is the diagram which shows the OSI reference model, which consists of 7 different layers. Layer 1 is a physical layer, second is a data link layer, then third is the network layer, fourth is a transport layer, fifth session layer, sixth presentation layer, and seventh application layer. The OSI reference model consists of 7 different layers. Each layer may communicate virtually with another layer of another host. This is host 1 and this is host 2. The actual communication is done at each layer at different by using different techniques. At the physical layer, the data transfer may happen by bit by bit. At the data link layer, the data transfer happen with frame by frame. At network layer, packets may get transferred. At the transport layer, the TPDU, transport packet data unit, is there. And at the session layer, session packet data unit. At presentation, PPDU is the application layer, APDU, application packet data unit. So this is 7 layer OSI reference model, in which actual communication is when host A want to communicate with host B, or host A want to send some data to host B. The data goes through these 7 layers. So OSI reference model consists of 7 layers. First one, the physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport, session, presentation, and application layer. That is PDNTSPA. The TCP/IP reference model consists of only 4 layers, that is the link layer, internet layer, transport layer, and the application layer. This figure shows the OSI reference model versus the TCP/IP reference model. The OSI reference model consists of the physical layer, but the TCP/IP does not have that physical layer. Instead of data link layer, TCP/IP has link layer. Instead of network layer, TCP/IP has an internet layer. The transport layer is present in between OSI also, as well as TCP/IP. The presentation and session layers are present in OSI reference model, but those are not present in TCP/IP reference model. The application layer is present in both OSI reference model and TCP/IP. So these 3 layers are not present in TCP/IP. So the OSI consists of 7 layers and the TCP/IP consists of 4 layers. Then at each layer there are different protocols. The different protocols like HTTP, SMTP, RTP, DNS, they works at application layer level. Then the TCP and UDP works at transport layer. The IP and ICMP works at internet layer, and the DSL, SONET, 802.11 or the Ethernet, these protocols work at the data link layer. So we have in this book, we have most of the 5 layers are given for TCP/IP reference model, that is physical, link, network, transport, and application layer. So which are the critiques of the OSI reference model? The OSI reference model has a bad timing, bad technology, bad implementation, and bad policies. So many of the communication network make the use of TCP/IP reference model. The example of networks are internet, then ARPANET. These are the examples of your OSI reference model, that is internet, ARPANET, NSFNet, third generation mobile phone network, then 802.11, that is wireless local area networks, then RFID and sensor networks. This is the structure of ARPANET. The figure A shows the structure of the telephone systems in which there are switching office, then the toll offices, which are shown by the rectangular box, and the hexagonal box is nothing but the also the toll office. Then the diagram B is a proposed distributed switching system. The actual ARPANET looks like this. This is the original ARPANET design, which consists of host ICMP protocol, then IMP protocol, then IMP and the subnet. So this whole area comprising a subnet. These are the host. This is host 1, this is host 2. Then host to host communication may be there by using the host to host protocol. So this is design or the structure of ARPANET. Then another, the ARPANET evolved in December 1969. And again there are revisions in July 1970 and again in March 1971. So these are some samples or structures of the ARPANET. Then another, NSFNet, which is a backbone, set as a backbone, which is founded in 1988. This is the architecture of the internet, which consists of the data center or the actual servers through which we have access to the internet. So these are the homes or areas or regions. Those are connected with the routers, different routers. The connection may be dial-up, DLS, DSL or DSLM, or even fiber or FTTH, fiber to the home. Then at the tier 1 there is a tier 1 internet ISP, that is internet service provider, and this is the backbone, and these are the routers. So through routers the data center get connected to the 3G mobile phone network. So again 3G mobile phone is connected through different routers. Then there are different paths. When you are calling from your landline phone to 3G mobile phone or wireless phone, then that goes through a path, or there may be a cable connection, and again from this router there may be wireless connections. This is nothing but the overview of the internet or architecture of the internet. This figure shows the third generation mobile phone networks, which consist of different cells. Means your mobile network is divided into hexagonal regions, which is also called as a cells. Each base station or the tower is called as a base station, and each base station receives and sends the signal inside within that area or to the cell phones which comes under that area. So this cell phone comes under this base station or tower, so it sends and receives the signal from this base station. This cell phone receives the signals from these base stations. So the base stations covers the hexagonal area. So this is cellular design of our mobile phone network. Then another network is third generation mobile phone network, which consists of base stations, then air interface, that is wireless connection in between mobile phones and base stations, and there may be RNCs and the circuits or packet switch networks which may connected with the internet or the PSTN. This is an architecture of UMTS 3G mobile phone network. And another type of third generation mobile phone networks, where uh, the landline or the wireless phone at home may get connected with the base stations, or the mobile user may also get connected with the base station. So mobile phone handover a before and after, these are shown with the help of these diagrams. Means if this person which is driving at a particular point, means if he goes from one region to another region, the region which comes under that particular base station, so that base station provide the services to that mobile user. If he goes from this region to another region, or which comes under this base station, then this base station provide the services to this mobile user. So this is nothing but the third generation mobile phone network. Then another example shown, that is of wireless LANs, that is 802.11, which consists of the access points. Access point get connected with a wired network, means it is connected with the server or wired network, and access points are connected wirelessly with the networking devices, or the laptop, cell phones, or walkie-talkie, or any other devices, wireless devices. Then another figure B shows the ad hoc network, in which there are three mobile devices which communicate with each other with in wireless communication media, or using wireless communication media. Then another example of wireless LANs, in which there is a router, reflector, wireless receiver, and the cell phone. The cell phone receives a non-faded signal, then wireless receiver, that is laptop, which receives the faded signal, and the reflector is there, which reflects the calls from this cell phone to this wireless receiver. There may be multiple paths from the wireless transmitters. So these are some examples of wireless LANs. Then another example is RFID and sensor networks. So these are the examples of TCP/IP and OSI reference models.